Well, good morning, my YouTube friends. It's Margaret here from M.E.s Orchids, and we're just in the living room, and there's this temperature gauge here. That's the daytime, that's the night time, and it's 12:29. Now, if you'll see, Keith works in Fahrenheit, I work in centigrade, and when we get upstairs you'll see the centigrade figure. So just bear with me a minute while I just pan you around. I want to go into the hallway, and no, that's not a puppy. We've not had a puppy, but I was desperate for a little toy to cuddle, and Keith got me that little doggy for Christmas. He thinks I've got early onset, but never mind. Right, now I'm just going to nip you into the hallway now, and the reason I'm bringing you in here is because these two dendrobiums, this is Gracillicoli, this big one here, and this one here is Delicatum, and these two have just been outside, and because it's rained, as you can see, but now it's started to sleet. So I thought, well, I better bring them inside now. But they've, at least they've had some nice natural rainwater on them. And one of the things I just wanted to pan over here, just to show you. Look at that, for a flower. I think this one's called Florida something. I'll have to just turn it round. And these, Keith's done all these. And let's have a look. Oh, it's not. The Florida one's over there. That's not flowering now. This is called Dancing Queen. Isn't that absolutely lovely? And even if I turn the light off, just because it's fairly dark in the hallway, you can see how lovely. Absolutely enormous these blooms are. We've got another one forming there, and another one forming down there. But you'll see my hand, and you look at the bloom. This has been a species one, that's been lovely. I've got more to come open here, there, and this one here, and that one there. So I'm just going to pause now while we go upstairs. Right, so we're up in the grow room now, and I work in centigrade. And you can see last night it went down to 0, and at the moment it's only 2°C outside. So it's very chilly, and I've just had to turn that fan off. So yesterday, all change again. I'm always changing things. I'm always thinking about the next step, and we're moving into spring. So I need to check what are going to require higher light, what's going to require more watering, and etc, etc. And so I've just moved one or two things around. Keith always says, "Oh, not again." I said, well, you know, this is how it is when you've got orchids. Nothing's static. I mean, I do try and keep the orchids in the same place, but it doesn't always work out that way. I mean, this is Dendrobium a day. So a lot of the orchids have been fed this weekend. And this one here, it's a lovely one, this one. It's very spindly though. And I was just checking the notes this morning, and this needs about 4 months of dryish conditions. So of course I flooded it yesterday, because I didn't read my notes yesterday, I've only read them this morning. But anyway, it's not sat in water now, and I haven't watered it very often. And the reason I looked at it this morning was because under some of these leaves I thought to myself, oh dear, has it got spider mite? Some markings under the leaves. but I've wiped them all and I don't think it has, and maybe that's why some of these leaves are curling back. I thought they were curling back because of spider mite, but they're probably curling back because you see that one, you see it's got telltale signs there, but when I've wiped, see there's nothing comes out, and I think that those leaves are because I've actually kept it short of water. So somewhere inside my head I must have known it was requiring a winter rest, and actually the Gatton sunray here, that requires a winter rest, and of course I've put that in a different kind of pot. So let's have a look, what else did I do yesterday? Of course everything gets watered. I do the watering actually in 2 stages. The little shelving behind, that gets, the mounts get done there one day, and these get done another day. And you'll see where I've got single glazing and we're steamed up here, so these windows have to be cleared every day. That's the dendrobium. Now I'm against the light, aren't I? That's Pastoral Innocence, and that's doing remarkably well. That's the Hieroglyphica, and I've still got the humidifier on here, and you'll see up in that corner I've changed the wand, the wasp, the antennae lights. I've changed them over into this area, and the reason being I wanted them to spread the light behind me and over here, and that's the Dendrobium plicatile there, and I've put some extra moss on and I've put a backing to that structure, which I think it will help that. And of course this is the LC Bermondsey palm with that new growth there. So it's a quiet day today really. It's a Tuesday off work. That was just a dying leaf on that frag Humboldtii. And I just thought, well, as all the mounts were actually watered yesterday, I can have more of a relaxing day. Although this one here, this is Cattleya intermedia var rosea, and it's got that new little growth coming there. That one, and this one here, this one, which is a Cattleya violacea. No, the one I've just shown you is a Quinny, and this is the Rosa. They've got a little bit of excuse me, some fluffy stuff, and I never know whether that's mealybug or scale, because these and this one, those were terribly infested with scale. Anyway, I've treated them yesterday, so there's the humidifier. That's having to be filled up virtually every day. This is the Phragmipedium Richteri, and that other bud's developing now, look at that. And I noticed on this Provacavolia, let's have a look, I don't know if it'll show you here, oops, I have to be ever so careful. We've got 2 developing eyes there, so I'm really chuffed with that one. And then, so that's just looking out onto the window now. And then what I did yesterday is I thought, well, I'd bring all the little neo-phoenicias and bring them into this area so they get a lot of light. And this one here, I've potted in this open basket, with just some grow stones and some lava rock. This is the one that's got the new root developing there, and it's got a new root down there. I have to be careful with this one because it's got a little sticky outy root here. So when I put it back in, I have to try and, ooh, there we go, just manoeuvre it. And then I've put it in this little vase here with some just plain water. So that's getting humidity, and of course the humidifier's right next to them. And I think what I did yesterday, I just I fed them all as well. And the Sedera japonicas there, that's been watered and fed. And I've brought that here, of course. It's actually now been reclassified as Phalaenopsis. But, you know, I thought, well, I'd still bring it in with this group because that's how we used to group them. And this is, of course, that nice one there. And that's been fed as well. This one here, this is the one that was hanging in the window. And again, I wasn't too sure whether or not it had dried too quickly. So I put it into this vase here, and there's water in there. So again, that's got humidity underneath. And they've not had to be watered today because, of course, like I say, it's we're into this cold spell now. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that one. This is the only one so far that I've not let the roots, well, I haven't got a basket, so it's had to stay this way, and it just fits in there. But eventually, when those roots get a little bit longer, I shall be able to put a little open basket in there, and then that one can have its roots dangling like these. And I put the Chrysotoxum here, and that's the Aspasia. That's one that never does anything for me. It, I don't know, and it takes up a lot of room. So I'll have to think about that one. Sometimes I grow out of favour, and sometimes you do for some reason, and then I always feel guilty after, and I think to myself, oh no, I'll have to try and save it. That's just losing one of its leaves. That's of course the like this one, this Oncidium Powii, you see, that species one, and struggled with that one, but now it's sent out that new leaf, so it's back in favour. And this is the let's just go down. This is the Pleurophthalus ristopoides. So I've got one in the bathroom, and I've got a humidifier, not humidifier, but I've got a temperature gauge with a humidity gauge. And so one stays in here, one stays in the bathroom, just so I can just see, you know, which is going to be, which is most suitable. And we'll go along this bottom shelf, or this shelf first. This is where some of the Phragmopediums are. These are the seedlings. That isn't. That one. Come on now. I just need that leaf to get a little bit longer, and then it can be wedged up. I suppose I could wedge it up with this little, but it's not quite long enough. See what I mean? I might try that after. It's about 1/4 inch, that's all. And then I can tie it up with this little clip. And so there we go. And of course these are the Kingianums. Just look at the roots on this one. I try and not touch these if I can help it, because every time I touch them I break the roots. Look at that root growth. Absolutely gone berserk, this one has. And this is in those white stones, not the grow stones. Now whether it's sending the roots out because it doesn't like those stones, I've no idea, but, and it's even come out there, but I broke that one if you remember. Anyway, sorry about about that. That's the Coleogeny species one. And in this corner I've just put that no ID. Oh dear, sorry about that. Must have just caught it. That no ID Phalaenopsis there. That's the Thunia bensonii. Still not gone into a winter shutdown. That's the Phaeus tankenvillia. And then of course this big one's the Burfordiense. The Coleogeny Burfordiense. Let's have a look at those leaves underneath. I get paranoid at this time of the year. Especially with they just feel a little bit different. The leaves have to add a little bit of stickiness under that then. And there's a little bit of stickiness there, can you see? Now, I shall take that down after and have a look. Get paranoid, spider mites and all these things. And there's spiders' webs everywhere. These little tiny spiders. That's the Pseudolamelatum, the one I call Avatar. And I get up now. This is the oh, here we go again. Sorry about that. Come on. Don't know why I keep touching. Oh, I know. There's a little part on the side here. I keep catching it with my finger. This is the Epicattleya alatilio var Santa Maria. And this is doing very, very well. And it's got two new growths just tucked in under there. Now let's just take it back a bit. That's better. And that's of course the seedling that I got from Burnham's, which is the Phragmipedium longiflorum. And that's a seedling. I don't know what it's going to be like when it gets bigger, but let me have a pan round here. And of course those are finished on that one now. And so these are the Pathiopedilums, and the reason they're here is they've been fed and watered yesterday. There we go. And all the Phalaenopsis have, all of them. And they're really appreciating from having this extra feed. They've all had the leaves wiped. They've all got new roots coming, every one of them. And I'm just in my own light there, aren't I? Sorry about that. Back up round here for you. There we go. That one I'm just losing that old leaf there. I mean, this is 4 years old, so I suppose it's only to be expected. And this is the Dendrobium pendulum. Can you see? So I do think that's a new growth. It's only little, but we'll take a new growth. There we go. And if I back round here and bring you over here, this is on my other little area that I keep some of the mounts, and there we go. That Pseudolamelatum there, see, that's lost that big. It had two big leaves, now they've died back and those have dropped off. That's the little lamelatum there, and it's still got that nice little green inflorescence. So these are doing fine. They're just starting. I'll probably have to water these later, because they do get about every day, every other day. I can go every other day, but they're really by then quite desperate. And this one here is Laelia rubescens, and this was hydrated yesterday. Not an awful amount, it just sits there, can you see now? And then I thought to myself I would put little Zorro, and because when I checked underneath little Zorro, because it was on one of these little trays, some of those roots that were trapped underneath had started to die back. So I thought, well, I'll just hang this one as well. And it means I don't see as much of the flowers, but never mind. And see, this one's fine because this is a bulbophyllum, and that doesn't mind sitting with a little bit more moisture. And these are the two dendrobiums, J.O. Candy, and let's just hope that they'll pull through. So these are just ones that are either in rescue mode or cakeys. And down here on the very bottom shelf, oh, I must lift that one up. That's the trouble sometimes, you see, you move things around and that needs to go there. And that's little Axel from last year. And that was the only one that didn't get affected with whatever it took all the collection down with. And that just sits down there. And if we get up again, these are of course the Phalaenopsis that I've shown you before, but they've all been fed and watered. Everything's been anchored down properly. I felt that they needed to be anchored down. And these have all been watered and fed. That's the one with that nice little flower inflorescence coming. Even that one. And on the top shelf, this is the one that Camaridian Prestons. And that got fed and watered yesterday. The only one that needs doing today is the Angraecum. There we go. That's another Phragmipedium. And we're virtually back to where we were before. I've lost that little branch there, I don't know why. This again's been fed and watered. And we're back up to the white fall. So things are moving, but one day, like yesterday, it was exceedingly hot. I mean, what's the temperature in here? 22.2. So it's 22.2 with a humidity of 60%. Oh dear, I don't know whether you won't see through this single glazing. Let's see if I can. I have to do that every day. Wipe these windows down. Oh, we've got snow. But thank goodness I'm not at work today. And it's just a day really to relax. That's why I thought I'd just bring you into the grow room. Just check some of the other orchids over. It's a good time because otherwise when you've got a big collection like I have, not as big as a bigger collection as some people have got. I mean, Roger's got an enormous collection. But there you are, you see, there's another one. That's a Phalaenopsis, and I've recently repotted that because it wasn't quite firm enough in a particular pot. So it's anchored down now, and that's showing. Oh, the little tray it was in has just fell off. That's showing me those nice roots there. So, like I say, everything's just ticking along, which we can't expect anything else at this time of the year. And so I'm going to go down now. I've suddenly realised today I've got a Samsung tablet, and I don't mess about with, I'm not very, technical in that sense, but on my liked videos I was showing 5,000. I thought, 5,000? Anyway, so I said to Keith, how can I get rid of these? Some of them are very historic. Some of them are going back to 2017. So Keith said, oh, you go to history and you press that button there and it'll clear it all. Did it? No. And so it was showing 5,000, but there was more than 5,000, more like 10,000 likes. And so since yesterday, both Keith and myself have been going through, you have to individually, with the tablet I've got, actually remove the liked videos. And I'm down now to 3,900 and something. So at the moment I'm leaving a message for people, but I'm not liking anything. Because if you like something, well, with the Samsung I've got, it just saves it. And of course I'm merrily going along as I do, and like everybody's, and I didn't realise that, to remove them from the tablet, I don't know that it takes up space, memory I mean, so we're staying up to now a day and a half, and I'll spend the rest of the day removing those 3,000 and something I've got there now. There's that lovely Arades falcata that was watered yesterday, and that will have to be watered this afternoon. So there we are, that's the grow room, and so thank you for joining me. I mean, this time of the year there's sometimes not a lot to report. It's just giving you an overview of how things are just slowly ticking along. So I'm going to back up this way now and bid you all farewell. Bye bye now.